Creating three-dimensional space on a two-dimensional surface is something that's an important part of my work, and it's something that's evolved over a long time. It comes from probably that training in sort of modernist Australian painting. You know, when you think about that, Sid Nolan and Albert Tucker, so that sort of era was that modernist era where they did play around with the picture plane of the painting. It's a conscious thing, tilting the space up parallel to the picture plane, so flattening out the space. It gives a top view of things. So where we normally view a landscape is from the height of a person, and having that more sort of aerial view tends to open space up a little bit more. I've been exhibiting my art for a long time, since I left school pretty much. I came into planning at a much later date. I came into urban design and designing the places that we live through my involvement in public art in Beaumont Street, you know, after the earthquake. But the thing I liked about that is that we, as artists, we manipulate lots of elements, lots of materials and mediums to create things. And then here I was seeing planners and architects manipulating, you know, real things that we actually used, you know, in a real space that we move about in every day. So that's what attracted me to that. And I think since sort of studying urban design and town planning is you're much more conscious of the public space, the space from outside of houses. That's everything from a street, footpath, all those public areas to parks, and in this case, the coastal, you know, recreation space. Part of the process is using sketchbooks and drawing from life. That's an important part because when I'm building up a painting, I need lots of different little elements. So if I'm missing something, if it's in my environment, I can go up there and I can just capture that little bit. Using earthy colours in a coastal theme makes my paintings not the typical paintings that we see of Australian coastlines. There's no, you know, perfect waves sort of peeling off on the point, but it's not that cliched view of the, you know, beautiful blue sky and aquamarine sort of sea. Making ceramics for this exhibition was, in a way, was a bit of a break from, you know, making paintings. And I'm not a sculptor. The ochre of the clay lent itself to the colours I was using, putting that with some really simple, you know, limited, you know, black and white clothing. And a lot of those boxing classes, they have a sort of almost like a uniform of, you know, the white t-shirt and black shorts. So, yeah, I thought that's probably why those ceramic pieces worked well with the paintings. I saw images that I was developing in painting, and I thought that would look good as an etching, you know, because the image itself lent itself to that. There's enough people around in the art community in Newcastle that can help you with a technique, and people are willing to share. I guess the iPads really, in a way, replaced the book, the sketchbook, and I was surprised how easy it was to manipulate the iPad and get used to all the functions on that program. So in the end, using the iPad is so portable. You never had to wash up your brushes or a palette. You had a full palette there, all the colours you needed, and it was completely, you know, you could pack it away and, you know, you could go off for the day and carry it with you. It started when we went travelling, and that was I had a book and the iPad, but I just tended to use the iPad more. Well, I guess I saw the iPad idea. I mean, everybody's seen what David Hockney did with iPads, and I'm using the same program as he is, but he tended to show the actual image as a digital image, which I think is quite a good way to show it. But printing it does. People really like the quality of the finished, on good art paper. I'd been painting this landscape for a number of years, and before I started putting the figure in, and the reason why I wanted to put the figure in was it gave, when you start putting people in there doing something, it gives the viewer can identify more with that space or that image to what's going on in the picture. They can they identify themselves. The types of figures that I was doing, they tended to be more clumsy. There was a clumsiness to it that I liked, and I think that is part of the qualities of the ceramic figures as well. That clumsiness to them. What the figures were actually doing, predominantly the pump classes and the boxing women that are in boxing classes, etc. Young fellas down at the skate park, that sort of thing. It's something that's really grown, and there's a boom of these sort of, gym classes outside. So it's something about our current society that we've got it. It's about healthy lifestyle and that sort of thing. But there's also a real display about it. We're doing it, but we're doing it for everybody to see. That I find sort of interesting, and really about this time. They weren't doing it 20 years ago. We're in this sort of continual state of boot camp. We're sort of preparing for something. I don't know.